Here we are again, Trans Gurus. This time we only got two gurus here with you. So Bonnie and Ella. And we are both post-op gurus. So post-op transgender women. And we would like to share with you some of our experiences. I think that would be something very interesting for many of you, mainly those, of course, which are intending to make that change too, meaning bottom surgery. I know that not many transgender people actually do that. It is very expensive. It's not always paid. So it's not an easy step to do as well because, for whatever reason. You don't have to do it if you are transgender, that is for sure. But some of us do decide to make the big surgery. So starting on with that, put to the table or to the Zoom what our experience are. Bonnie, tell me about your wonderful experience. It has been a while, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, everything is different today than back 20 some years ago. The doctors actually call you and say, "How you doing?" At my surgery, I met the doctor the day before my surgery, and this is not trying to get too weird, but these are just things I'm sharing. The first time I saw the doctor, I think was, let's just say, a Thursday, and he was doing my surgery on Friday, and the doctor told me to go home and play with myself, and my mouth just went, huh? Like, what? I'm trying to eliminate that. Why are you telling me to play with it? And the doctor says, no, because I want it to grow so I have more to work with tomorrow. Anyway, little things that you remember, but that was something that was said to me. Then, as far as going through the surgery, I was with Dr. Biber. Marcy Bowers also was had her surgery with Dr. with Dr. Biber, and took over Dr. Biber's practice. And she's still practicing somewhere, I think, in California. But anyway, the procedure that I had was fairly simple, no complications. I have all my feeling. I didn't lose any feeling. So I'm able to orgasm and all that stuff. But the thing about the SRS surgery that a lot of people don't understand, after I had my surgery and I came back from Colorado, for at least 2 to 3 weeks, people kept saying to me, what's different about you? Something's different. Nothing was different. It was me internally that the surgery, I was more really the authentic person that, anyway, with all that being said, people notice a difference in me I didn't lose weight, I didn't have my hair longer, it was just basically, I felt different about myself. And what I know a lot of people they have reasons not to want surgery or to have surgery, or it's expensive. Back in my time, there was no insurance, so that wasn't even an option. But anyway, I managed to get it done, and I worked real hard in order to do it. But the accomplishment is not what I'm really trying to talk about. It's the alignment of the brain with my body. Now, I'm not putting this out that everybody has to have bottom surgery. I'm just saying for me, and probably Ella, absolutely, and a lot of the other girls that I know, after you have surgery, before Ella had her surgery, I used to tell her all kinds of stuff. She used to think I was crazy. Now I hear her listening when she's talking to other people, telling the same noise I was telling her, because it's different. Life is different. And you feel different. And when you have that psychological thing, that feeling, and when you take a shower and I had my surgery years ago, and Ella was saying to me, every time I pee, it's just so, Well, I'm going to tell you something. It's been a lot of years since I had my surgery, and every time I pee, I still have a smile on my face. Why? I don't know, but I mean, it's like reinforcement. It's like whatever. And a lot of people, when they have to dilate, oh, it's such a pain and this and that, it's all about perception. For me, dilation was a way of reinforcing my authentic self as a result. It wasn't like work. For me, it was more like, yeah, uh, I have a puss. I mean, I'm not trying to be gross and I'm trying to be whatever. But what I'm saying is, it's very, very enlightening. What? Share a little bit of yourself, Ellen. We'll go back and forth. But I know for me, this is something that before Ella had her surgery, she couldn't shut me out. I would never talk like this to people that had no intention of having surgery, because I don't even want to put any kind of thing. But if you are going to have surgery and this is something you want, now I can't say that some people, whatever, but I've never in all the years, and I'm going all the way back to a long time ago, I've never met a trans girl that was post-op that regretted what she did. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody couldn't, but my point is that's when life really begins.
Well, Bonnie, those are really nice words. I have to tell about my experience. So, Bonnie, when she had her experience, there was not many doctors around which did this because, some years ago, or when she did
there was only Dr. Biber, and I think there was one of the John Hopkins. I think it was John Hopkins. It was only two people in the whole any place that did it, period.
Well, I had my SRS 2 years and 1 month ago. I remember it very well. The choice of doctors these days have changed drastically. We have hundreds of doctors. But I have to warn you of something, the quality of the doctors is something so important. If you want to have a surgery, here in the United States, you've got two things that you have to take into consideration. First is, does the health insurance pay? And that's the first thing. Does the health insurance pay the doctor you want to go to? And there are some doctors which actually accept health insurance. I think, and then of course, how much does it cost? How are we going? But you have always to take into consideration the quality of the doctors. We've been having many people, which I know, which went to doctors which were just more experimenting rather than having a very good, and they had issues. Sometimes they had to do after surgeries. With Bonnie, actually, it's really quite interesting because Dr. Biber, she did one-time operation, no after surgeries.
Yeah, they never even called me back to see how I was doing. I mean, you're gone next.
Yeah, but you're happy.
But I had no problems, so I can't say anything.
In my case as well, I had one after surgery, one surgery, no after surgery whatsoever. So in my case, the first thing that I did was an extremely big research. SRS, there are different methods of doing SRS. One is called so-called inverted penis system. That's what actually Bonnie had. I didn't have that system. I had a graphing system. So they put some material inside to make sure that I had the right depth. So I chose one of the best doctors for that. And these are not in the United States. It was in Thailand. So I went to Thailand. So the first thing is the pre-operation system, right? These days, it's a little bit more complicated than what Bonnie did. So you have to get all the tests done, stress test, your heart, if you are a certain weight, they will not make you the operation anymore. If you have HIV, not many Many doctors will make you the operation, so you are restricted to the amount of doctors. For example, my doctor would not do it on people which have HIV. So it's very complex. You have to make all the questionnaires and everything. Um,
I just had to pay my money and show up.
so we, the trip from Miami um, to Bangkok is quite long. It's we went. I had a very good friend of mine which accompanied me, so we went. We were two, and I tell you, if you do something like that these days, try to get someone which helps you. So we went from Miami to New York, from New York to Seoul in South Korea, and then afterwards from Bangkok. It was over 30 hours flight. It's a very, very complex thing. So to go there, we didn't have any much issues because everything was in the right place. There was no pain, anything. We went a couple of days before to get used to the time difference, and to watch around what's going on in Bangkok and see the nice things going down there. And then afterwards we had to go to the doctor, and then of course you have to do all the kind of first of all, we only had liquids for about 2 or 3 days. It was not easy. We had to stop all our medication. It was a little bit complicated, but then finally the day come, and for me it was St. Valentine's Day. Actually, I had my surgery on St. Valentine's Day, so I can say I've got a St. Valentine's pussy. you know. So St. Valentine's arrived. I was there very early. They put me into a room, observation room, until the right time, and then afterwards I went to the operation room, and I didn't remember anything anymore because I was in full sedation. The doctor Dr. Chetwood, which I made the surgery, Chetwood is a really good doctor. He makes more or less one pussy a day. Okay? So first of all, we were not alone where we were. There were loads of girls from all over the world which were making the same surgery. So we met each other. I've got some friends now in Australia and all over the world because we did at the same time with the same doctor. So he did a really great job. Next day, wake up, oh my God. In the beginning, I didn't have any pain, believe me, because there was such a lot of medicine. And then they put me into another room, and then they tried to give me opioids, and I cannot support opioids. So it just vomited everything, and I didn't have any kind of painkillers except Tylenol.
I didn't have any pain or painkillers either.
And so we stayed there a couple of 3 or 4 days. In the beginning, if the whole, my body hurt a little bit. Afterwards, I was transferred to a hotel. In the hotel, we had a nurse which came during the 3 weeks that I was in Thailand after the surgery. She came every day to check if everything was perfect, if everything was all right. It was a really nice service. The hotel where we were, it was a special hotel that had many people which were after surgeries and in rehabilitation. So there was even a small kind of mini hospital inside that hotel if you had any issues. So it was really well done. And actually, price-wise, pretty affordable. Nothing. It was of course not free of charge, but and my health insurance didn't pay, but it was pretty okay.
Ballpark, how much? Not getting your business, but to share for sharing.
Okay, if you
everything, plane fare, everything.
If you want to have just more or less a ballpark, you have to count about between $20,000 and $25,000. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That is inclusive surgery, hotel, everything. Mind you, the surgeon, they came and got us at the airport. There was very, very Very, very good service. Very good service. Um, that then our stay there. They took care of everything. They started to tell us how to dilate. So this is one of the things that you have to do when you have post-op is to dilate. So dilation, what does it mean? There are two very important factors after surgery that you have to preserve. One is the depth of your vagina, and the other one is the diameter of your vagina. Okay? So that if you have intercourse afterwards, that it doesn't hurt too much. So in the beginning, you've got the different dilators. So in the beginning, they are very small, and then they go wider and wider. We got a set of dilators which were directly from our doctor. They were plexiglass dilators, and they make sure that everything is in proportion. And I have to say, like Bonnie, in the beginning it was a little bit painful, mainly the trip back to Miami. Oh my God, that was very painful. Even if we were on these rollers, these wheelchairs. We had wheelchairs, and at every airport we had a letter from the doctor telling that we had just had surgery and everything. But even like that, it was very, very difficult. 30 something odd hours, 3 weeks after you got surgery on a plane is very, very tough. But we arrived, and we were taken care of, and things were pretty okay. But you always have to make sure afterwards that you dilate. So I think that that as well, things have changed. Bonnie's times, it was completely different. So her dilation was a kind of much easier thing.
They had I don't know, penis-sized plastic thing that you squeezed all the air out of it. Then you got it up inside of you, and then you like popped the cork, and it would swell up, and you just leave it in there for 45 minutes, and it stretched you out. And whereas Ella had to use like four different size dilators. Is that correct?
No. I started with the beginning. The doctor gave me five different
okay,
diameters.
five. Okay.
Right? So one is to keep the depth. So the ideal depth that the doctor wanted for us to have is between 6 and 7.5 inches. And so to make sure that we've got the right depth. And the second is, of course, the diameter. In the beginning, you put the smallest diameter, and it is very painful because everything is so new. And then with the time, it gets into the right thing. And there is one thing, is that never forget, when you are a transgender woman and you have a surgery, it doesn't automatically get wet, it doesn't. So you have to put always some kind of lubricant to make sure that you've got the right moisture in your vagina, because it should not go dry. So the doctor made a kind of a little thing. During the first 2 years, you have to go every day, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, to make your dilation. Actually, it was 3 times a day. I changed it because of my plans, because I had to work. So I made 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. With the time, now I don't dilate anymore. I do it probably once or twice a week, just to make sure that everything has got its own moisture. As a matter of fact, my gynecologist said even you can put some coconut oil. I'm sure it's very nice because it smells better. But it's you have to maintain that. But I have to tell you one thing, and that joins what Bonnie was telling before. In the morning, when I touch between my legs, the difference is so big. You feel happy. For me, it meant that my dysphoria practically went away immediately. I was, and I still am, extremely happy about it. As a transgender woman, for example, if you're post-op and you've got a more or less okay surgery, you should have a lot of feeling, a lot of feeling. Sometimes I think I've got better feeling now than before. It's just completely different. As a matter of fact, I think I forgot how it was before.
Yeah, I can't even remember. It's as
I
if it
don't
never,
remember it.
never happened.
But you know, you've got a nice little clitoris that it is fully, very, very, I mean, full um, of feeling.
Well, but but what you're saying, this is something that people need to understand. There's a thing between getting SRS and just getting it done by whoever. And I've known a number of girls that have got it done by whoever because they just got it done as cheap as they could. And they didn't have the same satisfaction that Ella or myself has had or other girls that I knew. So it's very important the doctor that you go to, and not just because of price. And there's people in Mexico. I mean, I know a girl went to Mexico and she had so many problems. I mean, I felt sorry for her. And I know other people
Oh
when
yeah.
she figured out all the trips she made going back and forth to Mexico, she could have went to a real doctor and it probably would have been cheaper and she would have been a
Absolutely.
thousand times better.
Yeah. So really be very careful about who's making your surgery, because that's very important. But you know, it's really true. You know, it's a completely different life when you have the surgery because of your feelings. Your feelings change so much. You know. Another thing that is very nice too is that if you've got an affair, you don't have really necessarily have to tell that you were a transgender person. I had an affair, and with some guys, I never told them that I was transgender. They never noticed. So,
But
um,
I'm going to say something here, not going against you.
I
I,
know
I'm guilty of the same thing. Okay. But anyway, the
it's not.
reality of it in life that I have seen throughout the course, you should always tell somebody for the simple reason that you have a lot of nut people and you have something, and before they go too far, you need to let them know, not because you want to stand out or be noticed or looked at differently. It's just out of respect to whoever you're with.
I mean, for me, I make very much the big difference that you know, if it is just a casual thing, you might get away with it. If it is a little bit more, you know, it's not only the sex which is takes into consideration, it's your own life. It's I've got 3 kids, I've got a grandchild, and I mean, you know, there are some things I cannot tell that the, you know, I mean, sometimes the conversation gets a little bit complicated, like, oh, what about your husband? Well, I never had one. I had 2 wives,
Yeah.
but I have a husband. So, but you know, if you say that you've got a kid, they want everybody want. If you have a kid, everybody wants to say, "Oh, who was the husband?" You know, it's not the case. You know, I can tell whatever I want, but I will never be a mother. I will always be a father. And I know that my daughter, you know, sometimes she does Mother Days with me, which is great. But let's look at the facts. I cannot, you know, that's the way it goes. And I'm a proud father. I mean, a proud father and an even more proud grandmother, because you can be a grandmother, but you cannot be a father, a mother, you know. No, it's I mean, I really have to tell that the difference is so different for me. The difference was so different. I feel really nice. Um, I mean, I forgot how it felt like before. Actually, to tell you the truth, um, it's just I feel so normal, so absolutely incredibly normal.
Being we're on the subject, I'll share things you remember. The morning after surgery, I looked down there and everything was swollen and I had tubes in me, whatever. And I kind of, got a little bit whatever. But After the first day, the only fear that I had is when they were going to pull the catheter out. I was so scared. I was sweating
Oh,
bullets. Oh, and, they pulled it out about 4 days afterwards. But for those 4 days, that's all I worried about was them pulling it out. And when they pulled it out, they said it's out. And I went, huh? I really didn't even feel it. I was worried about something that wasn't even there. But that's the only thing I could tell you about surgery was I was so worried about when they pulled that out, what it was going to be like. And I didn't even really feel it when it came out. And, so what I'm saying, a lot of the fears that we put in our head and a lot of the things that we go through are just, they're not real. I mean, if you have a good doctor and things are done right. See, me, I left 10 days after surgery and they gave me a donut because I had to take a bus and then I had to get on planes and all this other stuff. But I never used the donut. I wasn't that sore. I'm just saying, I really wasn't that sore. I mean, I was fortunate, whatever. And I know Marcy Bowers, I've heard from Marcy that it's very similar, her surgeries as to my surgery as far as all that. But like Ella's surgery is totally different than mine. But we both have the same results. We both,
absolutely.
it's not about, it's like going to get a nose job. You go to one doctor or another doctor, yeah, you can get a different job. But bottom line is you had a nose job. Well, we had SRS, two different doctors, quality doctors, and that's why we have the product. And if there's anything I can convey in this, it's about a quality doctor. It's not about, I know a lot of us just want to get it over with. They want to get it done. Marcy Bowers is a 2-year waiting list from what I hear. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can go to a fly-by-night and get in tomorrow. I mean, but it's something that you're going to live with for a lifetime. If there's ever been a time to do it right, this is the time to do it right because you only get one shot at it. And it's something that you have for a lifetime to be proud of, as well as embrace and love and feel good about. So make it right with the right doctor. Go ahead. I didn't mean to get carried off, but I just wanted to stress that point because it's so critical that, just like you said, you researched the doctor you went to.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people, and like I said, I've known them, they just look for who's the cheapest, because they have to pay for it themselves. So they go to the cheapest doctor, and then all they do is complain and bitch about, they didn't get a good job. This isn't right. They have to go for follow-up surgeries and this. Just do it right the first time and you have no problems. And it all depends on the doctor.
Absolutely. If you have, by the way, if you are looking and you're thinking of making SRS and you've got some questions, please be free to send us a message. We can try to help you somehow. But it's, Bonnie is 100% right. Make the right research. If you've got a good doctor, things will be so easier. Don't forget, you have to live with your parts for the rest of your life. It's not something which you can go back and say, oh, put everything back. You can't. It's a one-way street. You have to do it correctly. And for me, it has been the perfect one-way street. I love it. But, you have to do it the right way. I know many people which had to go 3 times, 4 times. Come on, every time every time you go to correction is difficult, and your skin gets thinner and so many issues,
Look at Jazz, the problems she had. But you see, that's another thing with Jazz is that she had blockers from a very young age and never developed. So therefore it's harder. But I think that because Jazz they did a surgery similar to what you had, Ella, correct?
I think she had a similar surgery to mine. Yeah,
that's what I
she
thought.
did it in New York in another. They are very good doctors too, but I don't know what happened. But she had to go back. So, but they have a little bit of a different way of doing here than in Thailand. In Thailand, there was a doctor, or there is a doctor called Dr. Supron. Dr. Supron is kind of the old person which made a hell of a lot. And Dr. Chatterwood actually is, a person which learned with Dr. Supron. I think Dr. Supron is now retired. Dr. Chatwood just made it now an incredibly clinic. And I tell you, I mean, he already had a clinic before, but now he made a really nice clinic where actually after surgery, the people can stay in the clinic for a long time. And I mean, he makes, as I tell, every day there is, look, after the surgery, in the hospital that we were, there were about 12 girls which were there, and we were talking with them, and we had coffee, and and they were coming in and going out, and we had a great time with the girls. I mean, don't forget, it will take you about 3 or 4 days until you start walking again. Okay. And then of course you have to take you have to make sure everything goes out, and it's not so easy in the beginning, the first days. One issue I had now, we had to be 2 weeks before surgery without hormones, so I had to stop my estrogen and everything. I didn't have testosterone before because I had, for many years that I already had before surgery, which took out my testicles. So
You
I
had an
did
orchidectomy?
orchiectomy. Yeah. I had
Okay,
an
an
orchiectomy.
orchi.
Orchi, yeah. I had an orchi before, so I couldn't produce any testosterone anymore. Um, and then afterwards, when I came back, I started to take hormones again. When I started to take hormones, I had these hot spells and cold spells for about 3, 4 days. You could not believe. All of a sudden, I was in the supermarket with my daughter, and I was sweating like hell. Afterwards, I went to the car, and I was freezing to death. It was terrible. It was probably that was the only effect which I had. What was starting to take hormones again. My body just didn't know what to do anymore. So
Thank God I didn't go through that.
so apparently I was not the only one. As a matter of fact, my doctor in the United States, she didn't know what to do with it. But within about 2 or 3 days, everything went down, and then everything went normal. And today I am very pleased. Every day, you don't have to tuck. That's the first thing. But on the other side, I don't even. I mean, for me, it's kind of so normal now that pee
You
is
mean like wearing a skirt with no panties and shooting beavers at the guys?
all the time. I love that. But uh,
Sorry
pee.
if that was out of line. I'm just, when things change life, you no longer have to worry about if you're in
Many
the shower, if you're in public, or you go swimming, or you don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff, which is really, really nice. Anyway,
Now, for us, you have to understand is that peeing is very different. When you are a woman, you don't have as much, the function of peeing is a little bit changed, okay? You cannot, aim. uh, and, there are some things with the time that you learn. Um, I have to say, one of the big things about transgender women is that we never had our mothers telling how to pee or how to do things and everything. We have to learn everything by ourselves. I have cisgender friends which help me as well to tell, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? And then of course you find the right rhythm. Everybody's different, so everybody's got the different ideas about it.
oh,
But for
also,
me,
I didn't mean to interrupt. You told me about those little things you can insert that if you do have intercourse with the man, they'll break, so you'll be lubricated.
yeah, lubrication is another issue. So you always have to lubricate. Um,
But
and
that's not a big deal. I mean, put some lubrication and forget about it.
yeah,
But she came up with this method where you don't really have to worry about it. because it'll break when somebody sticks it in. So you're lubricated.
Yeah,
And they
these
think,
are
oh,
kind
damn, this bitch is hot. She's all wet.
of, this is the
I
kind of,
got her all excited.
these are some kind of little capsules with gel inside. So you can put it inside your vagina for a while and you leave it, you can, I mean, you can make a normal life with your vagina, no issue. And then in the evening, you can put it even in the morning and it doesn't happen anything. And in the evening, if you've got it with a guy and the guy goes inside, they explode and then it gives all the lubrication coming out, okay? So the only thing that I mean, it's meant for cis women anyway, which have got issues with lubrication. So we can do it pretty nicely too. No, absolutely no issue. The other method, of course, is to put gel inside. The difficulty is, of course, to get. You cannot put it with your finger or shove it with your finger or anything like that because it's quite deep, so it's not so easy to get there. And but you put it with something inside. One thing that it is quite important is the sanitation of your vagina. It is a completely new thing, and you have to make sure that everything is clean all the time. I don't know. My doctor told me from the beginning, don't make too many showers because showers make everything drier. So you don't want to have dryness down there. So showers, be careful. But sometimes you have to do.
But that's only when right after post-op. Doesn't matter afterwards, does it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. But it's much more comfortable if there is a little bit of lubrication inside, even. So
I never worried about any of that. Honestly,
I mean, I don't worry every day either. But I mean,
no, I'm just saying it depends, I guess, on type surgery. I never really had that. And also, my doctor, when I did it, he told me to douche with vinegar and water, and that was it. Just clean it out, boom. And I was, if I was going to be with somebody, that's what I did. But I've heard other people say, oh, no, you're not supposed to do that. So I don't really know what's real. But for me, basically, if I'm going to do that, I just use a little vinegar and water and one of those squeeze things, and I'm fresh as can be.
I think that it is very important is that you follow the guidelines of your doctor because your doctor knows what's better for you.
Of course. I was just saying that there's different ways, different doctors, different methods. You find out what your doctor recommends and how they recommend to do it, and you follow that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you still have to take care of that, and mainly you don't want to have any kind of mushrooms or anything inside, because that is not so easy to clean to heal. So just make sure that you are everything is working correctly on that. And it is different from before because before it's much easier. Everything is on the outside, so you just don't have so many issues. Well, although I have to say, I always had issues with my little thing. I had some kind of fungus, and oh my God, it was terrible. Since then, I don't have anything else. I don't have any issues now.
I've never had an issue in all these years, so thank God, knock wood, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what we want to tell about being post-op. It's a wonderful experience. It is a very personal experience. It's up to you. It's not up to us.
It's not for everyone, but if that's what you want, I'm telling you, it just doesn't get better. Somebody give you a hard time and say, well, you're not a woman. You can pull your pants down and say, that ain't a woman, honey. I'm not just carrying. But it's the psychological thing that, you don't have to deal with that fear or that worry or any of that kind of stuff. And I know after I had my surgery, I went to a nudist colony by accident. When I was working, they called me for a service call, and I didn't know it was a nudist colony. And I went there, and after I saw it, I went, "Oh, I'm going to go there. I can go naked, not have to worry about anything." What I'm just trying to say is, it's like, yes, I'm real. I can do anything any cis bitch can do except have a baby and have a period.
That is something which is very interesting. I know someone which actually did that. After she had her surgery, she went to the gym and she was completely naked in the gym just to show all the girls, I've got one too. It's, I mean, but that's very private and very individual. I mean, it's not a must. You're not less a woman if you haven't done it. But if you want to do it, it's every experience. It's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, if you have the right frame of mind and that's where you're headed, and that's why I said I wouldn't have this conversation with anybody unless there was somebody that wanted surgery. I would share my feelings and what I've been through, and because you should never ever think that you're better than anybody else, and to say, oh, I'm trans, but I haven't had surgery, and put them down like, well, I've had surgery. You're not, that's all bull. Everybody is entitled to be who they are. And if surgery is something you want, hey, then that's okay. I mean, and if surgery is something you don't want, that's okay too. It's just a matter of where your head is at and where your desires and where your thing is. And I've known people that have had surgery as late as 70 that I've known. I mean,
Even
what I'm
older.
saying is, so
Even older.
it's, there's no time, I saw a post the other day, how late is too late to transition? And there were people in their 70s that were writing in, I just transitioned, and there were people that were a little older, people younger, people whatever. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's all about a level head, having some kind of focus and working towards what you want. That's all that's really important. And you know, I mean, I had my surgery and I didn't go around telling everybody, oh, I had my surgery, holding up a sign, whatever. No, I just wanted to blend. I didn't want people to know. And the people that knew me close up, I shared with them. But basically, after surgery, and I tell this to a lot of trans people, when you meet people, you don't have to tell them you're trans. You're going to go to bed with them. I think you should tell them. But any other time, that's up to you. You don't have to, a lot of people just want to blend in life and not stand out. And that's one of the nice parts. Like she was talking, go to the gym. Yeah, I gotta take a shower with all the girls. Okay, no problem. Or whatever you want to do. And also I was going to share, a lot of people, they hurry up and they just go get implants, and everybody is different. But myself, I developed probably a D, but with that being said, I never had implants. But at first they were small, and after years later, they grew. And also there's a lot with hormones. Now, Dr. Powers has a fantastic program where, the progesterone and the estrogen or estradiol, whatever it is, estradiol, it's real important. Your hormones will have a big effect on your development, and as far as your hips, everything in your body. So that, I know a couple people that, I don't want hormones and stuff. And I'll put it this way. I went to a doctor in the 90s, and when I moved from Tampa back to Miami, and when they found out I was trans, they told me, get the F out of my office. He took my money and everything. Get out. And he literally said F. He said, get the F out. But he used the whole word. And then a year later, I went to another doctor for hormones, and they did the same shit to me. So I went 20 some years without hormones, and I broke like 6 bones in a month because I didn't have hormones. So then I went to a doctor, about hormones and all the other stuff, and I got myself back right. But what I'm saying is hormones are important. And even though doctors are idiots, although today you might not have any problems like that I did. But if you do have a problem, you can't give up, because it's important that you stay on hormones.
Very important. Osteoporosis is terrible. And many transgender people have got the issue with with osteoporosis if they don't have the right level of hormone.
Yeah, you just have to maintain your proper level.
Yep, absolutely.
And also post-op, just to share, and this is something that people say, if you were a woman, cis, and you went to the doctor for bioidentical hormones, they're going to want your testosterone level somewhere around 50. My testosterone level, last time they checked, it was 11. So now I'm doing, actually, it's a cream that has progesterone, estradiol, and a tiny bit of testosterone. Because for me, for years, I said, no way, I don't want to do it. You know, that's a different life. That's different. But when I went to a doctor for bioidentical hormones, she explained to me it's got nothing to do with male or female. This is where you should be if you were a cis female and I was to balance your hormones. This is where I'd want you to be if you were a cis female. And just being around 50 compared to being at 11, you know, you have more energy, you have more get up and go, you have more, it really gives you, and your sex drive is enhanced and all those different things. And so it's real important. And one other thing I wanted to share was reaching orgasm. I kind of, because I was off hormones all those years, it was very pleasing, but I didn't really reach the orgasms that I wanted, that I can today. So my doctor, when I went to him, because I was off hormones and broke all my bones and was freaked out, he said, we need to put you on testosterone because testosterone builds bones better. But the reality of it, they don't build better. No, estrogen builds bones better. But anyway, so I was freaked out. And I went on testosterone for a few years. And it messed my voice up and did a bunch of other things. But anyway, all that stuff being said, I found it very easy to orgasm. And so the negativity of what going on the testosterone like I did may have been not good psychologically, but I've had my surgery and all that stuff. So I didn't have all those dysphorias that maybe a lot of people would have when I did it, blah, blah. But the positive part, and I always try to find the positive in everything I do, it enabled me to learn how to orgasm fairly easy now. And, you know, I don't know any testosterone or anything. I just started about 2 weeks ago a little bit, and I do feel a little different. But the point is, if somebody after surgery is having a real hard time orgasming, do some testosterone and it'll get much easier. That's just a little something I can share going through my journey.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm on that too, so it's all right. But you know, don't forget, my doctor was just telling me, you know, if you are, I've got a kind of a cream, testosterone cream. So you have two things, what you call, 2 squirts per week. A man who might have, or a transgender man might have about, you know,
one a day or 2 a day.
6 or 7 per day.
Yeah,
so
okay.
It's at the same level. It's a considerably lower level. Just to give you an idea, my testosterone is about 10, and for a cis woman, it should be about 50. And that's where we want to be. Okay. You want to tell anything else, Bonnie?
It's a beautiful journey. It's something that I can't even put it in words because it's more than just a gift. It's more like a blessing, if that's where your head's at. And if that's where your head is at, everything changes. Life is different. You see life through a different set of eyes. And like I told you, after my surgery, 3 weeks after I finished, almost everybody that I knew that something, what's different about you? There was nothing different. It was just how I felt about myself. I was like beaming, you know, like slap that bitch, bring her back to reality. Anyway, you know, life is what you make it. And for me, it was something really special. And I'm so thankful that I was fortunate enough to have, and you know, I mean, a lot of people talk about transgender. I'm thankful that I was born transgender.
Me too.
People say, what are you, nuts?
Yeah.
Listen, I went through hard times. I got beat up. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I went through some real rough times. But you know, we don't really remember the pain in life. We remember pleasure. And bottom line is, if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would not hesitate for 1,000th of a second, because the rewards outweigh any negativity and people around you. You know, there's nothing like getting up in the morning and look at yourself and go take a shower and feel authentic. And regardless of what people say or people this, psychologically, that's what I was saying about dilation. Dilating is reinforcing that you are female. So every time you dilate, you're sending a message to your subconscious mind that you no longer have an appendage there. Now you have something different, and you're nurturing it, and it's rewarding, and it's positive, and it's something that, you know, it's over the top as far as emotion. I'm trying to go on, but I could cry, even though it's been a lot of years. Just how thankful I am that I was able to be so lucky as for all the pieces to fall together.
Yeah, I feel blessed too. I really do. Okay, I think with that we can say, unless if you want to tell something else, Bonnie.
I'm good. And if anybody, you know, we have a YouTube channel, you know, we have the Facebook. You can send us messages. We'll answer you. You know, not that we can, you know, I don't know, that Ella's fantastic with sending people all over the world. I mean, different places, you know, to look where there's groups, and now they have Zoom meetings they can help you with and everything. But I'm good with everything, and I want to wish everybody good luck on their journey. Be smart about it, but it's a great journey.
And take care. It's your body, it's your soul, it's you, and you are the most important person in life. Bye, everybody.